I am tired of all these streaming apps.
Oh my God, what's wrong now?
$10 a month, $20 a month, and if you get the no ads plan, it's suddenly triple.
Ugh, yeah, that hurts.
I just want to listen to music without worrying about costs, shuffle it, hear surprises, pay less.
You can.
Wait, what?
This.
Oh, wow, I forgot this song even existed. What app is this?
No app. That's 98.9 The Bull. That's called radio.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the Mother's Justice Show. I am your guest host, Omari Salisbury, also known as the Big O, filling in for my mama, Reverend Harriet Walden, right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Very happy to be back here for a second week. At the top of the show is a great opportunity to give a shout out to our producer, Mr. Eric, holding it down. Thank you so much, sir. Also joining in the studio today by some of my Converge Media colleagues, Mead Gill in here and Ashley McCurdy. We got a great show lined up for you. We're going to be talking to Lamarr Thompson, and a community member, from talks about he's from the CD, went to Franklin. We ain't gonna hold that one against him though. You know what I'm saying? Got a Quaker up in here, but also an entrepreneur and somebody who's really focused on youth engagement and youth opportunity out in the Skyway area of Seattle. We've been having some pretty good conversations over the last few years, on and off whenever I bump into him. So I thought there's a great opportunity, bring him in here to the studio and also, expand his footprint and reach as well and let people know what's going on. Before we get into all of that, though, there's some very important information here. The Seattle Steelheads are undefeated. They're 2-0. For people that don't know, the Seattle Mariners, every home game this season, right? They're wearing the Negro League jerseys, the Seattle Steelheads jerseys, right? And so the reason why this is a big deal is because any team, no matter that Negro League, whatever, anytime a team adds a new jersey to the rotation, baseball is a hella superstitious sport. And so if you get a new jersey and you start losing initially, then the fans be like, nah, we don't want that jersey. The players feel some kind of way and everything else. But, as fate would have it, that the Seattle Mariners, the very first baseball team in Major League Baseball history to put a Negro League jersey in regular season rotation, the jersey is off now to a 2-0 start. On that note, I'll actually bring you in, Lamarr. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I just learned something today.
Yeah, you wasn't hip, huh?
I wasn't hip, and now I got to go buy a jersey.
Oh, yeah, now you got to go get one. So the Steelheads, a lot of people don't know, right? Interesting story. And most people, know the story of the Negro Leagues, right? And why the Negro Leagues in baseball is so important, and they're still there in the fabric of who we are. Baseball was the only sport that black people ever owned. And when you think about that, like we own the teams, own the leagues, black people made the jerseys, black people sold the concessions. It was black busing companies that drove people around. It was black motels because they couldn't stay at it was segregation. And so there was a whole ecosystem around the Negro Leagues in baseball. And that's why like our grandparents, and God bless them, great-grandparents, they're still around, especially if they were in those spots across America. They remember the Negro Leagues and remember baseball fondly. You know what I'm saying? Our old elders, man, they usually have a real soft spot in their heart about baseball, even if they hadn't gone to a game in 30, 40 years, because when they were young, they remember that, like, that was the only sport that black people ever owned. And we gave that up in 1947 with Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson Day is getting ready to come up for integration. We gave up the only sport we ever owned to say that we were on equal footing with white America. Well, that was 1947. In 1946, there was the Seattle Steelheads. And the Seattle Steelheads, man, it's a Negro League team, and they played on the West Coast Negro League circuit. So, a lot of people heard of like the Kansas City Monarchs and all these guys in the Midwest and on the East Coast. Well, the West Coast had its own league as well. And so the Steelheads was up in there. And so, they only played and ultimately ended up playing for 1 year after Jackie Robinson went into the majors. Major League Baseball started just cherry picking all the best players from across the Negro Leagues. And of course, some years later, the Negro Leagues folded, and it took, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, for Major League Baseball to finally accept the records. You know what I'm saying? Like from the Negro Leagues, because the Negro Leagues, they was balling, fam. But Major League Baseball didn't accept those records. And now they're integrating the records from Major League Baseball and the Negro Leagues. And you finding that all these black players are now bumping a lot of people in the history of it. And looking at you in your eyes, it's like, man, hold up. I'm learning hella today.
I played on the Monarchs when they had the mini kids, the kids league at Junkins Park, I think. And then my cousin was on the Greyhounds. So we're familiar with other areas having teams. And I remember, like, the clothes being popular, like, when I was in high school for Negro Leagues. But I don't know nothing under the Mariners besides the Pilots.
Yeah, no. And so even before the Pilots, and so the Steelheads played right there at Six Stadium where Lowe's is at.
The same spot.
Yeah, where Lowe's is at. And also, this one will blow. You've probably seen it. It was really big this year, was the Owls Club. And the Owls Club was the black women's softball team. In 1937, they were the city champions, you know what I'm saying, representing out of the Central District. And so you're seeing like a lot of the Owls jerseys and Steelheads jerseys coming out and everything. So I'll tell you this before we move on, right? And so every Sunday is Steelhead Sunday, right? And so you let me know what Sunday that you want to come. And man, it's got to be a Sunday. You got kids, right?
Yep.
It's got to be a Sunday. You can bring your kids because there's no greater gift that I can give than the gift of baseball. I want to give you some tickets for a Sunday to come out there to T-Mobile Park and you see these Seattle Steelheads take the field.
Bet I'm there.
All right.
There. I'll do that. No problem.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, there we go. We're off to a good start of the show.
We just were last week talking about our ranking being wonky, and then we said we needed to go to a game. So
yeah, no, man,
that's a good game, and I got to get New Jersey.
Yeah, man, I got you. There's nothing more. Like, I mean, people. I buy so many Mariners tickets. We got some special ones for you, right? That the Mariners have already given us to be able to allocate to people like yourself. But I buy so many tickets because that's the one thing that I can't say no to. And people will hit me and be like, Big O, man, so-and-so's in town or blah, 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 blah. Somebody called me the other day. They said that they was just kind of feeling down. They used to go to the baseball games with their dad. And their dad's not able to go no more. And, they were just trying to, I was like, man, here's some tickets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the game like that.
I was mad I missed that Yankee game last week.
Oh, we was there, huh? Yeah.
yeah. I wanted to go to the Yankee one, and then my nephew wanted to go because they had a One Piece like day for anime stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's how we even were talking about that.
The anime day and everything else.
We just were talking about trying to figure out what day we could go.
All right. Well, man, the best thing about these M's, man, there's still like 70-something home games left. And so go to as many as you can. But I got a Sunday for you, a real special Sunday for you and your little ones. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be there. And
we'll do that. So now we've been talking about it, and we got all the fun stuff out the way. We'll talk about some more fun stuff too. But, man, why don't you introduce yourself here to our audience and tell people what it is that you do, and then we'll jump into some things.
Okay. My name is Lamarr Thompson. I'm 37 years old, grew up in the Central District area of Seattle, and been Seattle to the core since day one.
Right, and you're the owner and operator of?
Aisle 4, and we have a conglomerate space in District 2, like downtown Skyway areas, what we joke and call it, but we're right on Rainier towards the end by Boeing Airfield. We have a youth program, an open door arcade, which is free to everyone in the area, a clothing store, and a barber shop all in one spot.
So hold on, run through all of those things again?
Yeah, it's a lot. So we have recently partnered with King County, and we're recipients of the participatory budget and put together a safe space arcade for the youth. So we have a safe space arcade for the youth that they're able to drop down 5 days a week, except for Sunday and Tuesday, pretty much anytime 3 to 7. And it's an open door for them to just come in and exist. We have a lot of new electronics, all the new technical gaming gear of like what the streamers would have, and offer lessons to teach the kids how to use that, as well as coding to help them learn how to build programs, because a lot of them are familiar with like Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft, and a couple others that let you go in and actually tear apart and develop the games. Just trying to show them that there's more than just playing the game, and showing the parents there's positivity and communion that could be built around video games.
So why are you doing this?
I honestly couldn't tell you what the origin story was besides I'm just a big kid at heart and like to do stuff like that and have fun. I was streaming and doing a bunch of stuff in COVID, which is how we ended up even getting our space. I run a clothing brand, which I already was doing before that. And I needed somewhere that I could like house all my boxes, ship all my stuff. And it was like, oh, we can get a spot because my girl didn't want us all in the house, crowded in the house, making noise in the room. I'm streaming. So it's like, it's not quiet and it's for hours on end. So we got the space and was planning to set up everything from there and been cooking as a community space ever since. We've hosted a ton of events. We've had a couple of special people make appearances as well, and then grew fully into a place where you can pull up, pick up your gear. And one of the guys that's been with us for a long time was a barber. So when he needed a home, we converted a huge piece of the space into like a really nice setup barbershop as well. So we got 2 barbers down there. You got clothes down there, photography, videography, and an arcade and coding program.
Why was I just earlier you mentioned a safe space for kids they could drop in from 3 to 7. Why was that important for you? What need were you seeing out there in the community?
I have a ton of little cousins, and my family's pretty big, and my extended family's pretty big. So I needed a space for my family to be able to come chill. And I like inviting, like my son's in sports, my daughter's in sports, so I got a bunch of little homies. They're all ages, and I wanted somewhere for them to be able to come. And recently, about a year ago, I lost my little brother due to gun violence in the city, and he used to frequent the space, but it wasn't a bunch of stuff that would keep him like stuck in the space. So he came in there thinking he was forced to only be there when he could chill on the fly, or if he had something productive to do that he needed to like just show me he was working on something. So having the space be something now that you can just exist there and you can be as productive as you want, kill time, or just play the game and just find your own comfort in the space, that's a really big deal to all of us at the shop.
How has the community responded now to Aisle 4?
It was a community vote for us to even get the space in general.
Explain that.
King County runs a participatory budget grant where they use partial funds from, I think majority of it's from marijuana tax. And it's weird because of how our space is set up. There's 2 dispensaries to the right on the block to the right of us and 1 to the left. So we're smack in the middle of just dispensaries, 1 corner store, the barbershop, and a Thai restaurant that's never open. So there's not much that's being offered to our community. So when they put the ballot out on votes in Skyway District 2, unincorporated King County, people got to vote for what we were doing. It was a no-brainer for everybody to select us to have a space for kids to actually be able to do something and see something.
So your community voted for you guys to get supported. So the community literally supports your vision.
Literally. We got I don't even know how many votes, but it was a landslide for us to get our space.
It was a landslide.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, so speaking of that, then, how important as somebody who's part now of the participatory budgeting process, beyond what you're doing, how have you seen PB, as they also call it in the short form, how have you seen PB transform what's going on there in Skyway?
So PB has a couple of programs that I personally know some of the people running the programs. Najee runs a gym. They're at the Nomads gym. They're up there. He's giving free youth classes for health education and training, and I think community classes as well. There was someone up there providing barber school and technical learning programs. There's which other ones? They have like a laundromat where it's subsidiary. I think they're washing people's clothes and taking care of like underprivileged families. There's a bunch of stuff where PB is
Silent Task Force.
Silent Task Force that's like a good community space up there. I went to their grand opening.
Yeah,
and Silent Task Force does a ton of different things. Mm-hmm. It's like a better version of like a WYMCA or something.
Yeah, no.
So it's a lot of good things that came from PB. I met a lot of people up there. Shout out to Miss Gloria. She's been very helpful and did a good job educating us because we don't come from a nonprofit background. We were just people that got involved from us already previously trying to do good community things.
Yeah, and how important is that? I think sometimes, especially right now in our city and county, it's like you don't have to have gone like some nonprofit route to just be wanting to just help people like on the everyday or something?
I think everybody doing something should be doing something. When I grew up, I lived on 26 in Jackson. I knew almost every store owner in that area, even including every barber in Preston's. Anybody walking up and down the street, they knew what family I came from. They knew everything going on. And then there was other things being provided to the community to make sure that we knew who was in our space and who was trying to operate in our space. So once we got a space, it was a no-brainer to do the same thing and then try to provide some of the stuff that I either saw that we had growing up or wish that we could have had from a better operational group, I guess I should say, because some of those programs are set up, but they're not operated by people who would know how to best serve them. So there are things that you can do in the city, but you're not getting the best versions of it because of the people curating it, but they do got a good heart, so I'll give them that.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Now, you're in a unique kind of position there when interacting with young people. A lot of times when we're trying to interact with young people, it's so structured or it's so, tight or so whatever that a lot of times the young people aren't as honest or expressive with their feelings. Being that you have literally an arcade where kids can just come and be kids, what's some of the vibe that you're picking up, man? On the good side, what kids are doing, but also, I don't know, man, what are they struggling through right now that at least you pick up on that a lot of people might not realize that young people are carrying burdens that maybe somebody they didn't when I was in school or even when you were in school?
So at my age group, I think the first person I knew that we lost to gun violence was probably my freshman or sophomore year. I don't remember. And it was like a big deal when he passed, and everybody dealt with that differently, but it wasn't like as frequent as what they're dealing with or as young. And it's now spewing to where a lot of these kids are not only knowing the victims, but they're knowing the story before the police even know the story of what's going on. And this is something that's their age group in middle school are all walking around saying they know about a lot of death, a lot of crime, and they're just not sure how to feel safe outside. And you got some kids coming and talking to us in the space, and not that, what's the best way to put this? I don't know. We had a kid recently that said he wasn't sure if he needed a gun or not. And this is a prominent athlete, like growing up, and on his way to, I believe he's going like a private school, but he's only in 8th grade. But he's saying he's not sure because this is happening at these events, and everywhere they're going is this, and kids' basketball tournaments and football games is turning into this. This is stuff we went to and didn't have a problem unless it was just going to be like a little scuffle. It might have been 1 or 2 scuffles, but it wasn't going to be worried about going to a sports event and somebody dying. So the kids are worried about a lot more than what we had to worry about and got access to way worse stuff than what we had. But they also have access to better materials than what we had as well. So just trying to combat it with that and show them that there's more than what they think is the only option left.
Man, yeah, we got a lot to get into. I really can appreciate the effort and the sincerity of like your approach in dealing with these young people and your vision. This is going on 3 years. I met you 3 years ago, and actually I got some tape of that we'll play right after the break. We're going to talk about Field Day. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show. We'll be right back right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Looking for media that truly represents us? Converge Media is where culture meets truth. Seattle's leading Black-owned media network, bringing you powerful stories, local news, and conversations that matter. From the morning update show to groundbreaking community coverage, Converge shines a light on the voices that shape our city, our leaders, our artists, our families. Stay informed, stay inspired, stay connected at whereweconverge.com. That's whereweconverge.com. Converge Media, telling our stories, our way.
Hey, y'all. It's time we take care of what's ours. The Black Legacy Homeowners Hub is now open at the McKinney Center, a safe space to learn, connect, and protect our family homes. Whether you're fixing up your house, passing it down, or just trying to hold on, We've got real people, real help, and real answers waiting for you. So come on by. Drop in between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the McKinney Center on 21st and Jackson. Let's keep our legacy strong, together.
When our children aren't safe, none of us can rest. Mothers for Police Accountability has been standing on the front lines for decades, demanding justice, truth, and transparency in Seattle. But we can't do it alone. We need you, parents, students, neighbors, to join us. Volunteer, speak up, be part of the movement that keeps our communities safe and our voices heard. Visit mothersforpoliceaccountability.org. That's mothersforpoliceaccountability.org. And stand with the mothers who never stop fighting for what's right. Mothers for Police Accountability. Love in action for justice. Being a Black homeowner in the Pacific Northwest comes with questions, and you don't have to find the answers alone. Black Homeowner Magazine is your trusted source for support, education, and community, helping you protect your home, your equity, and your generational legacy. Inside every issue, you'll find real stories, expert guidance, and local resources, all designed to keep Black homeowners informed, connected, and rooted right here in the Pacific Northwest. Because ownership is more than property, it's community. Black Homeowner Magazine, where ownership meets community.
Multicultural, multidimensional even. Alternative Talk 1150.
All right. Welcome back to the Mother's Justice Show right here on 1150 AM KKNW. My name is Omari Salisbury, a.k.a. the Big O. Town business up in here. We're joined in the studio by Lamarr Thompson. And, man, we were just talking about, like, what you guys are doing out there at Al 4. And also you're talking about what young people are experiencing. And it's hella layers now that is just way deeper. It was similar to me when you talk about experiencing like a death or a traumatic event. I was a senior at Garfield. And a matter of fact, it was June Walker got murdered at Garfield my senior year. And I clearly remember that. And I mean, my son graduated from O'Day, I guess it would be 8 years ago now. But like his whole time in high school, although he went to O'Day, a lot of his friends at other schools and other places. Matter of fact, Connor Dasa Holland went to O'Day before he transferred there to Rainier Beach. And Connor got murdered out there in the South End. And my son has a long list of not only homicides, bro, but suicides. It's quite a lot of young people that are just no longer finding value in their life, unfortunately. And they're taking their own lives in so many different ways. It's a lot of things they're dealing with. I wanted to circle back around, though, how me and you first came together. And Curtis Delgado II, Cuddy, had told me, he was like, man, it's my man. He got this event. It's called a field day. I was like, man, bro, what's a field day? He was like, no, but it's like they bring the community together, and it's young people and it's old people and it's all kinds of stuff. And I was like, man, we have to check this out. So here's an actual clip from July 2023 when we first asked you about your field day event.
We're out here today at a community field day, Aisle 4 community field day. We're just bringing all age groups out to play, have some fun family bonding time. We have dodgeball, kickball, tug of war. We pretty much bring everything you would have had at an elementary or middle school field day and then bring it back for all ages to have a good time. A lot of people in my age group, we usually throw events, but it's nighttime activities. Nobody really did too much for having their kids out, and I got 2 of them, so I thought of a better way that we could get everybody involved. I'm a big kid myself. I want to get out here and play these same games anyway. Good turnouts out here every time. Everybody just comes in, gets a good sweat in, and a community building bonding event.
See, I got the receipts.
Yeah. I haven't heard that clip. That was the one you came down with the camera.
Exactly. That was in 2023. Man, tell us, I mean, you kind of hit it on a little bit right there, man, but why was it important for you to have like a field day where it's like, man, the community just come out, don't matter where you from, don't matter how old you are, you don't need no money, just come kick it?
Because I grew up with Emoji Fest at Franklin High School, and that was something we did, but it wasn't, like, as we got older, a lot of those things are just looked at as like youth things, youth events. There was nothing that had anything for my age group to interact with the younger age group or just bring your kids. But we're throwing parties, we're hosting all these random events that you are dropping your kids off at grandma's house or with a babysitter or something and then coming out. So it was only right to offset the event by offset those events by having something that everybody could come to and get everybody outside.
Yeah, we was out there mealing too. It was me, Winfield, Ezell, Jr., Trey Winfield. Like, there's 3 or 4 of us out there. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm on these burgers.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun events out there. And then we always leave dirty and sweaty every time.
Yeah, I was tripping how many people, like older people, even people my age, are still in for the games.
Yeah.
Kickball and tag and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's pride in that. Like saying you still gonna get out there and play or compete, or even if it's the people that's running the dominoes tables, the card tables, whatever it is, it's literally getting everybody outside. So you get to see who's who. You get to interact with, okay, that's so-and-so's kid. I never knew that. You just putting all that stuff together. It's fun outside. And there's no, like, the only expectation is to show up and have a good time and eat. And it's free.
Man, that's a good thing. And I know you're looking forward to getting that going again this year, right, in 2026. But you had mentioned when I talked to you before that 2025 last year, man, the dynamics weren't in place for it to happen. If you could elaborate a little bit more.
It's sad because the same thing is literally happening right now that's making it the same way. Right before field day was to take off, my little brother passed and was murdered from gun violence. But it was a lot of back and forth going on before that and a lot of back and forth going on after that. But a lot of these people are frequent patrons to the event. So we didn't want to tell anyone they couldn't come. We didn't know exactly who to be worried about in the situations of who might have had something lingering or whatnot. And when we reached out to get police presence, that came with a fee that we run this thing literally out of our pockets and just pay for the food, rent the park, which is a few $100s, but we don't have thousands of dollars to pay to get security access to make sure that everybody could be down there. So we had to just cancel it and not do any field days last year due to that. And the same things kind of happen in this year now. So we're trying to make sure we could get something worked out because it's a lot of recent gun activity going on that everybody's probably privy of right now.
Yeah, no, this is definitely it's wild. I mean, it's definitely something we can't shy away from. I think even yesterday, I think it was a drive-by out there in the Rainier Beach area.
50 shots.
Yeah, 50 shots. And then on Othello, like a few days before that, it was 30 shots. These guys got these switches. I mean, they're putting a lot of bullets out there, and it's really weird that, I mean, it's the you were in the studio. I got some of these clips here when Chief Barnes visited, and I actually did an interview with Chief Barnes. And, man, it was crazy some of the numbers that he was talking about. And he was talking about this surge in crimes between young people ages 13 to 17. And he talked about, like, the impacts of social media. And he talked about that, how it's group violence now instead of gang violence. Matter of fact, I think I see in here number 2. We played this last week. We'll play this again here. This was Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes when asked him, does Seattle have a gang problem? This was his answer.
So when we think about gang violence, we think about a specific hierarchy. So gangs tend to have a rank structure, just like we have. There tends to be, generals or chiefs or whatever you call it, mid-level, and everyone is responsible for kicking up, if you will, some type of profit margin to the higher group. You don't see that as much as you used to with gangs. It's more just group violence. They operate within their own group, and there's really no clear hierarchy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you may have an OG that's pulling strings and say, "Hey, you're a juvenile. You have different rules, and we have you doing things." But I've always, just in my entire career, been very hesitant to call people gang members. unless I can actually prove that, because I do think that there is a negative connotation with gang members. And if you ask the average American, the average person, to close your eyes and picture a gang member, they might picture someone who looks just like me or you. And so I want to be careful that I'm not perpetuating a stereotype by calling people gang members when indeed they just may be a part of a group because they live in a certain neighborhood or because they have a certain friend group, and then now you have a conflict and I have a conflict. And so I'm always careful about that. And so if it is a gang and it meets all the criteria legally of a gang, we can call it that, but I tend to work from group violence first. Group violence is more of an associated clique, if you will, because gang members usually don't switch over. We're seeing these kids switch over really quickly. So now I'm with this group, now I'm with that group. Usually when you think about the traditional gang structure, if I'm, and I'll just use two of the most commonly known gangs, Crips and Bloods, right? So we have where I'm from. Normally you don't see Bloods go over and be Crips or hang out. So, but you see that a lot in groups. So we may be together as a group and then we do something and now I'm with another group, or we fall out, and that happens a lot. You know, we decide that we're going to do something that's criminal, and then for whatever reason, I don't get the cut that I want, and then now I split off. So I just try to be a little careful about that. But nevertheless, the strategy is the same. We have to be early adopters of when we see conflict, and we have to make sure that we can cool that conflict down.
All right, so quite a bit of things there from Chief Barnes. But like out here in kind of, I played that because when you were telling me about the unfortunate events, how they unfolded last year with your brother, you said it's like, man, this side was over here and that side's over there and this, and you know what I'm saying? Which seems a little bit different than me growing up in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? When people was beefing or something, it really was like geographic location.
Yeah, and now it's internet. They be mad at each other from 30 miles away and don't even really know each other, didn't grow up together, no background history, no nothing, just they done internet themselves into mad.
And so the social media is also playing a role in what we're seeing out here.
For sure.
Yeah, I'll bring in another clip here. Then I talked to Chief Barnes, and like I said, Lamarr was there that day in the studio, and that's why we're kind of integrating some of these conversations here. This is clip number 4. This is me asking Seattle Police Chief Barnes the role that social media might play in some of the violence we're seeing with youth.
I think the number one thing that I would suggest for parents to be looking out for is your children's social media. All of their social media, not the the Facebook where it's me and the pet animals, but who are they on Instagram? Who are they on Snapchat? Do you even follow your children on there? Do you know what's going on with them? Are they posting pictures with people you don't know? Are they posting pictures with adults? Are they posting pictures with an amount of money that you didn't give them, or you don't think that they may have had a job to earn? Like, we have to be engaged and involved in what our children's going through, and then talk to them. Like, hey, who is this person? Or what's going on? It could be totally innocent, but we have to give them an opportunity to talk. That's the first thing I tell them. These kids are doing a lot on social media. Their friends are doing a lot on social media. And so it definitely gives us an avenue into what they're doing. We didn't have that back in the day. So, who you were around was who you were around. But I think that will be my number one thing to them. As it relates to the earlier part of your question about what we're doing. So we have some software that our analysts use. It's called a link analysis. You ever been on Facebook and all of a sudden you get a friend request and you find out you got a friend request because you were next to someone or you put someone new in your phone and now they're saying, hey, you have 3 or 4 mutual friends in common? We do that with our police reports. And so if someone was in a vehicle and we recovered a firearm from that vehicle, and that person then is in another vehicle and we recover another firearm, we can link the two and see what that relationship is between them so we can determine is this a problem, or if that person gets victimized, who are they associated with. It gives us some insight into going to see who do we need to talk to. Say, hey, your friend was hurt. Like, what's the relationship there, and why is this gun being associated with other people? And so that's some of the things that we do as well.
Yeah. So as you can see, SPD clearly they know what's happening, and they're deploying this technology on social media. I remember, and I mentioned to him that Diaz was saying a few years ago, he was like, man, a lot of this stuff that's popping off with these young people is literally coming from like Facebook.
I would probably say Instagram and Snapchat, but yeah, it's not even. There's no real. I don't know you, so I can't not like you. I just don't like what you represent, and I'm willing to say it online. And then it turns into I'm not a punk, and then back and forth.
Then it goes into something else. Something else that was interesting that came out of that conversation too is that there's different laws, that govern with juveniles, and what a lot of
14-year-old thing.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't realize is that, I mean, a juvenile here, one, if you're 14 and in order, the police can't question you without a lawyer, and the lawyer is automatically supposed to have your best interest in heart, even if you're have committed a crime, and so they're not talking to the police, but also someone has to be jammed up like four times before they face confinement. So that means someone a juvenile can commit a crime with a firearm 4 different times. So 4 different times, community, everything is victimized. And actually, I think we have a clip on that as well. That would be number 3 here. This is Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes, and he's talking about the data that they have that shows the percentage of repeat offender crimes committed by juveniles and the issues that they have in confinement.
We did some data digging as well, and I wanted to find out who are the people who are most prolific, who have been arrested or caught in or with a gun within the last 18 months more than 4 times. And we came up with a list of about 90 people, and many of the people on that list are juveniles. And so the question is, what do we do with that? And you began your questions talking about community. Obviously, we're not allowed to give juvenile information away, but there has to be a way to at least get some type of agreement, some type of MOU where we can say, can you talk to these 10, 20 kids and get them on the right path? As you know, our courts sometimes have different rules. For a juvenile, it has to be 5 convictions before they're eligible for some type of confinement, but that doesn't mean they're not eligible for some type of community intervention.
Yeah, you heard it right there. 5 convictions as a juvenile, 5 convictions before confinement. And man, I'm all for trying to figure out solutions for people and everything else. But you've got young people here 5 times with a weapon, 5 times an assault, 5 times a burglary is wild.
5 times that's crazy. At that point, it's already been a pattern once he got past the 3rd one.
Yeah.
We got to do some reconstructing.
I mean, it's so, at least communities kind of tattered and victimized and things like that, which is, man, is kind of crazy in that sense. Let me ask you this, and I still got other stuff to talk to you, because later I want to be able to circle back around to Skyway. I think Skyway is a real special place, and we want to make sure and uplift that before we get out of here. But these conversations here in the studio that day when I interviewed Seattle Police Chief Barnes, you had so much to say. You stayed like an hour and a half after he had left, just talking to me and Eric. And actually, I had to leave. I was like, bro, I got to go. And then you and Eric, and they were talking. What were some of the thoughts that were going through your mind, and your thoughts right now of like, what can we be doing as a city or as community to be able to address some of the issues?
Well, one, I didn't know any of those things that he had said until that day. And I was also surprised how informed he was on like the group thing versus it being gang things, because a lot of this stuff isn't exactly gang related. So we were going over all the stuff that you two had spoke about in there, and then the issues that are just leading up to uncontrolled violence and why the system is like that and allowing people to do 5 times this, that, or the 3rd, or what could be different in some of the programs that are being set up to, quote unquote, help the youth, and how some of those are just bandages on a bloody wound instead of trying to actually dig in and repair some of those things. I don't think people are actually going to fix, or no, I can't say everybody. I don't think a lot of these people are equipped to fix the problem or even aiming to fix the problem because their jobs rely on problem. So that's what we were talking about and trying to kind of go over. And he was telling me about stuff that he had been through and stuff he had learned and stuff he knew about some of the programs because he had worked with previously. And we were just going over some of that stuff.
Yeah, I think that that's something that you bring out, and it's important. Is like, man, we've got a lot of well-intending people working with our youth, and then I think that we have some people who probably don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? As well, and some people who might not be well-intending either. And at the end of the day, us committed community members, you feel me? It's like we've outsourced a lot of stuff, and some stuff needs to be outsourced. Some of these people are dangerous, and regular everyday people aren't equipped to deal with that. But like we've outsourced the function of community. That's like what I really like what you're doing, like with Al 4 and what Field Day and just the way you're moving. Because it's just like, I don't know. I mean, it's just community. I like video games. This is how I contribute to community. Amplifying things that I'm passionate about. I like streaming. I like video games, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm into my clothes.
It's all in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, and it's like if our community used to be like that, though. It was kind of like whatever people got down with. That's what their contribution was to community. Someone might not open a whole space like you have, but it was a constant contribution. And there's so many gaps that it seem now to just be missing in community. It's almost like something like Aisle 4 should be like a norm in different variations. You see what I'm saying? Across things, but it's like it's a big deal, which it is, but it's a big deal because there's not that many Aisle 4s out there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. There's a lot of I don't want to say the wrong thing, but there's a lot of jobs are being jobs. And it's not the same. And my grandmother was a part of the, what's it called, city council. And she was, when it was I think they used to call it the rejected junction or something they used to call the CD because they had the dump there. Mm-hmm. And my grandma protested for the CD to get improvements, for the CD to get treatment like some of the other areas and to get parks. And Judkins Park is actually the water park at Judkins Park is in honor of my grandma. Her name's on there, and they're about to remodel that. But and her name's on there, and I watched her do all that work for free just because she cared. And that's why it's probably a no-brainer to me because my family was active, and both my grandmas lived on the same block, which is something that probably a lot of people could never say. But both my great-grandmas lived on the same block, and I got to watch a lot, and I was a part of a bunch. Like, I was never by myself. I got cousins on both sides, aunties, uncles, everybody on both sides, and we're active. So community's been how I was raised. And then I also was in a bunch of those youth programs when I was getting into trouble and having situations. And I had mentors. I had 2 church mentors. I had people that were actually trying to do stuff for me that had zero to gain from it besides them just donating their time. And then even one of them that did it as a job, did a good job, and I respected him because he was like me, and I could relate to him. Shout out to Anthony Shoecraft. But it was a cool dude, like somebody I would have aspired to be. So I know what it takes in some of these kids' lives. I know what it needs to look like, and I know what they'll be receptive to and what is going to be annoying to them when you're just overly pushing buttons. So I think that's why it's easy, but I think a lot of other people could do it and do a good job at it if they were using the things that they're good at and donating time.
Right. All right. Look, we're going to take a quick break right here. And when we come back, now we talked about Aisle 4, generally speaking. Now we're going to really get down into it and see what, you know what I'm saying? Right. What's percolating inside of Aisle 4 with our guest, Lamarr Thompson. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Hey, y'all. It's time we take care of what's ours. The Black Legacy Homeowners Hub is now open at the McKinney Center, a safe space to learn, connect, and protect our family homes. Whether you're fixing up your house, passing it down, or just trying to hold on, we've got real people, real help, and real answers waiting for you. So come on by. Drop in between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the McKinney Center on 21st and Jackson. Let's keep our legacy strong, together.
Looking for media that truly represents us? Converge Media is where culture meets truth. Seattle's leading Black-owned media network, bringing you powerful stories, local news, and conversations that matter. From the morning update show to groundbreaking community coverage, Converge shines a light on the voices that shape our city, our leaders, our artists, our families. Stay informed, stay inspired, stay connected at whereweconverge.com. That's whereweconverge.com. Converge Media, telling our stories, our way. Being a Black homeowner in the Pacific Northwest comes with questions, and you don't have to find the answers alone. Black Homeowner Magazine is your trusted source for support, education, and community, helping you protect your home, your equity, and your generational legacy. Inside every issue, you'll find real stories, expert guidance, and local resources, all designed to keep Black homeowners informed, connected, and rooted right here in the Pacific Northwest. Because ownership is more than property, it's community. Black Homeowner Magazine, where ownership meets community. When our children aren't safe, none of us can rest. Mothers for Police Accountability has been standing on the front lines for decades, demanding justice, truth, and transparency in Seattle. But we can't do it alone. We need you, parents, students, neighbors, to join us. Volunteer, speak up. Be part of the movement that keeps our communities safe and our voices heard. Visit mothersforpoliceaccountability.org. That's mothersforpoliceaccountability.org. And stand with the mothers who never stop fighting for what's right. Mothers for Police Accountability. Love in action for justice.
Need help getting started with self-help? You came to the right place. Alternative Talk 1150.
All right, welcome back to the Mother's Justice Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, also known as the Big O, bringing it to you here on 1150 AM KKNW. My guest this hour has been Lamarr Thompson, who is a founder, CEO of Aisle 4, which is out in Skyway. And again, for people who missed it at the top of the hour, man, tell us, what is Aisle 4? What's it all about?
Aisle 4 is a collective space. We got 4 creatives down there. We had all came together to create content, media, and a place to hang and have community and ship out our clothes was the original. We hosted a ton of events through COVID. We had photography, like full sync room with the white walls, curved walls, infinity walls. So we had a bunch of people coming in there. We were the cheapest place you could actually go to create content, and that was our objective goal, was to make sure that everybody had access to the resources for a low price. So we were pretty busy, and we hosted a ton of stuff during COVID and outgrew our space and ended up getting the building next door to that unit, and that's where we opened the store, the barbershop, and just continue to foster our community building skills until it got us to here now, where we got an arcade in there and a coding program. But our arcade just isn't a regular arcade.
Yeah, I want to learn more about the arcade because, see, one, guys can have, arcade is different. Somebody like me, I used to go to Arnold's and have a bunch of quarters. I used to go to Arnold's arcade up on Broadway. You know what I'm saying? And really be up there with the Galaga and everything. This is next level arcade and streaming that you got going on, man. So tell me about it.
And the crazy part is there's Galaga in there. But yeah, typically you tell somebody arcade, they're thinking you're going to be at some Chuck E. Cheese or older style where you stand up. There's 2 players can play at a time. There's pinball machines. There's fighting games. There might be a couple little virtual reality stations. That's the typical thing that people think of when you're saying arcade. And it's more of it's a way cooler version that you can do arcades now. They're hip internet cafes kind of. It's if you had it, the only thing that everybody jokingly keeps saying that we're missing, if we had functional coffee in here, you couldn't tell exactly who would be the group of people in there. We got adults coming in there playing games because there's 6, they're inconspicuous floating desks. And you flip them down, and there's gaming laptops in there, but it looks like you could do something professional, but there's so much color, it's so vibrant and fun in the space that it's for fun, but it's different. We got 5 video game consoles, 4 large TVs, 2 75 inches, 3 65 inches. We do have stand-up Pac-Man and a lot of the parents been coming in and rocking with the Pac-Man. We got old Nintendo 64 set up, like just the all ages gaming station, and we didn't even realize until last weekend how many older people would actually come down and want to hang and play and experience the space. We have people show up to come check us out with no kid and stay for an hour or two just vibing in the space. So it's different than any other arcade, and with the way that everything's being set up now where the youth are actually monetizing their content and putting out bunches of it instead of just playing the game, they're recording it and recording reactions and stuff. We have everything to make the next young Kai Cenat or anybody who just wanted to learn how to use the tools, because we got all the cameras, the control boards for audio, and we're teaching the kids how to use it.
And now, what is the cost for young people when they come down there and want to get on the gaming computer?
Oh, it's $1 million an hour.
Oh, that's a lot.
I'm lying. It's free. It's free. Nobody has no excuse to not pull up because it's free.
Wow.
It's already been taken care of.
Wow. Man, that's amazing. So, what location, hours? When?
Oh, our address to the space is 11431 Rainier Avenue South. And if you were to just type it in on Google to look for us, it's aisle like a grocery store, AISLE. The number 4 substitutes the FOUR because it's aisle 4 with 4 instead of an F for our community.
I was about to say, it's a spin on that. Where's that at for our community?
Yeah, we there. And then the only days we're closed is Tuesdays. Tuesdays and Sundays are the only days we're currently closed. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, 3 to 7 on all the other days you can come in there and just pop into the space. And it doesn't have to be kids, but it's aimed towards the youth. And then 12 to 4 on Saturdays is when I'm running the streaming classes.
It looks like we might be out there, Hamid.
Yeah.
All right. As we get ready to wind down here, man, you know what I'm saying? I know no person, no business is a person amongst themselves. No community is a community amongst themselves. Is there anybody else that you're working with in Aisle 4, your crew, or anybody else you want to shout out?
Oh, man. Yeah, shout out to the team. We got Jamil, Malcolm, Tobe, Jaime, and, man, there's so many photographers and videographers that frequent the space that help us, and just other people that are just cool. Shout out to the crew from King County. I think they're local services. Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to local services team. I've harassed them for the past now at this point like 13 months straight, so I do a lot of communicating with them. And shout out to Converge.
Oh snap! We got a shout out up in here and everything else, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to come here today, and I think that it's important in a conversation, in a show that is really about community and justice and civil rights and equity. That you're a perfect person for today, because you're talking about. So a lot of people can come and they can point a finger and say what's wrong with community, and I think we can all do that. But it's very few people who can say like, yeah, I can point my finger, but more importantly, I'm working every day to impact community, and like for that and for the work that you do, I think we're all very grateful.
No, I'm just thankful that people are receiving it well and actually helping it grow, because that's a big deal as well. Just letting people know the resources are available has been like our main thing we're having to focus on now, because a lot of people just don't know, or they're assuming that it costs money and it doesn't.
You heard that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's no money, no bread, no Skrilla scratch, cheese, feta, nothing. All you got to do is show up with a great attitude out there to Aisle 4. Matt Lamarr, once again, thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
Okay, so before we get out of here, a little bit of housekeeping. Is it cleaning? Eric keeps it clean around here, so it's no cleaning. We'll just do some keeping. Man, you can make sure and tap in when we do it, Converge Media, by visiting whereweconverge.com. There you'll find like all kinds of good stuff. There's our blog, which is maintained by Mead Gill, Good Stuff Mead. All of our video content are some of our stories from our show Back to Basic that you might see on Fox 13, our documentaries, films, all that good stuff, that community goodness that we wrap up right there at whereweconverge.com. And also want to invite you, if you are not following us yet on social media, on any platforms, on every app platform, you can follow us at WW So it's at WW You can most likely just put in Converge Media too, and you'll get us right there. Man, it has been a pleasure sitting in here. And just a quick update is that Mom, I told you last week that, man, she started making a turnaround, and the turnaround is continuing. She's even better this week. It was a long time we were very quiet about her status, and man, Mom's is on the rebound. It's a blessing and thankful. On that note, it's the Mother's Justice Show. Until next week, peace.
Not rest